There was still no agreement today over the super profits tax, making more than the miners nervous about negotiations. The broader business community, which stood to benefit from the revenue generated by the tax on miners, made their position clear. While adding to the uncertainty, a deal expected to carve out arrangements for coal seam gas companies failed to materialise. Jane Cowan reports.
The Chamber of Commerce has sought to remind the Gillard government that the super profits mining tax might be negotiable, but wider business tax relief isn't.
It is essential if the private sector is going to take up the slack as the public stimulus withdraws from our economy.
The Chamber staked out its ongoing claim to a 2% cut in the company tax rate, which was to be funded by the resources tax.
The company tax cuts amount to $2 billion of the projected $9 billion in revenue that the resource tax would bring in. The small business asset write-off and depreciation tax breaks account for a further $1 billion. That means that only 1/3 of the projected revenue from the resources tax is allocated to business tax relief. 2/3 of the projected revenue is therefore available for the government to undertake renegotiations with the mining industry.
I think the concerns are valid.
And tax accountant Mark Pizzacala says a preoccupation with the mining tax is distracting attention from other important reforms.
In the Henry Review, it was mentioned that loss carrybacks should be looked at, and the loss carryback principle is not a new principle. For example, it applies already in other countries such as the United States. And what it does is that if you make a loss in 1 year, but you've made a profit in a previous year, you're allowed to carry back those losses to your prior years and claim back the tax that you've already paid. And if you're an SME taxpayer, that's vital for cash flow.
The Deputy Prime Minister emerged late in the day, but said nothing of an anticipated deal on tax arrangements for coal seam gas.
Well, the immediate thing at stake is 3 projects, all of mega billions of dollars, so any delays are delaying the projects.
And doing nothing, says Graham Bethune, to quell uncertainty amongst overseas buyers.
Earlier in the year, we were at last starting to see some interest from Japanese buyers in coal seam gas to LNG. The Japanese are the world's biggest LNG buyers, but it's clear now that these announcements have scared them away.
Even once a deal is sorted, coal seam gas production represents just 5% of Australia's total mining exports. Only a resolution of the super profits tax can fix that.
As the government said this morning, they're not going to negotiate through the media, and unfortunately, guys, I'm also not going to negotiate through the media. But let me just assure you that serious consultation, serious negotiations are underway. We are very hopeful of a quick resolution so that Western Australia and Australia can, in fact, move forward.
Do you have a deadline in your mind?
No, I don't have a deadline.
But the government does. The sooner, the better.